Coda's Nissan R34 GTR. Bit of a dream car for most people. This thing is, it's an absolute banger of a car, whether it's modified or not. Just check it out. It's an absolute beast. It's no secret, me and this car have a love-hate relationship. I love it when it's good, I hate it when it's bad. But when it's bad, it's because we're trying to work things out. So something like this, so heavily modified, you're trying to make it drive in the street. You're essentially building a drag car to drive in the street. It's a balancing act of getting things right. I've spent a fair bit of time trying to get the flat shift working. This car runs a PPG gearbox with a load cell on the top of the gearbox, and it's a sequential. And you know, finding that right ingredients to making the car shift gears cleanly, neatly, efficiently, without trying to tear the crank out of it. Yeah, so I've finally got that dialed in. I'll do a video. I'll show the video in this video of it, banging through the gears on the dyno, which is pretty cool. But I thought I'd just give this car a bit of a showcase because I've done a couple of little videos, but nothing over, haven't really gone through it all. So its heart is pretty much it's a 2.8 litre RB. So this engine is built by Will over at JHH Racing in New South Wales. Will's a good friend of ours, and he's done an absolute banger job. This runs one of his cast iron blocks with sleeves. And look, it works really well. It's on top of it's got a G42 turbocharger. All the custom work is all done by us here in-house. Jade's done all the aluminium work and the fab on this one. Brown and Miller hoses, you can see these. You'll generally spot these hoses on some of the bigger, more expensive builds. The hoses aren't cheap, but these cars aren't cheap either. So when you build something like this, you always stick to the quality stuff. Super flexible, and there's so many hoses in this thing. So it's like, I don't know if you can see down there, there's just stuff going everywhere, So runs a twin manifold with Hypertune manifold with twin injectors. So it runs a Deca 2430 as a secondary, and runs a 1000cc as the primary. The injectors, the secondaries are supplied by Sticks over at Quick Bits. You can see his logo down in there. And then it's got a catch can on there. I've done a few videos in this catch can. It took us a long time to get this catch can working well on this car. And we've actually got a dual stage external oil pump on this car. And what we're doing is we're using the second stage to pretty much evacuate the engine block to pull the crankcase pressure out of it and bring it back into the catch can. And then obviously we've got some drainage and all that sort of stuff going on underneath. Pretty crazy what we're doing underneath, but it works really well. I'm very happy with it. We actually stuck a GoPro inside the catch can when we were developing it and watched what was going on, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, when we saw what was happening in there, it wasn't too hard to work out what we had to do. So, but yeah, it's got a clutch hydraulic, I can't remember what they call these things again, it's been a while since I used it, but that's basically set up there. So when you dump the clutch, we can control how quick the clutch releases or how slow. So we can introduce quite a fair bit of slip on the clutch to get it to hook up off the line. So it's something you'd set up at the drag strip, and you can pretty much set it up so once you dump the clutch, you can literally watch the pedal, rise from the bottom of the floor. It's pretty cool how it works. All controlled by the Haltech ECU, and it helps you find that balance between getting it off the line and not bogging it down, because you've got so much grip in these things. And not a lot of power in the bottom end, so when you drop the clutch, they tend to either just bog and stall or just smash the tyres, essentially. So you've got to find that right compromise between what you need to get it going and making it fast. It's got a little bit of sniff of the gas on there. That's only for just bringing it up onto boost, but to be honest with you, we don't really need it, so we've pretty much got that turned off and the bottle's out of the car. It's something there for later down the track. Everything's all ceramic coated. It's got the full Haltech catalogue in there, R35 coils, R5 Nexus controlling everything, including the four-wheel drive system. That's another thing I've spent a fair bit of time this week just dialing in the Atessa, just trying to get that to work right. We initially had some issues with the four-wheel drive system when he was turning it. He had a transfer case in there that was quite tight, and what it was doing is it was making everything bind up when you're turning it. So we had to sort of come up with a strategy that allows the car to drive and find that right balance between having the four-wheel drive coming in and having it turn it off, and it's all controlled by steering angle and all that sort of stuff. So pretty cool how that all works, and we've learned a lot in setting that up. So it's you're always learning when you're doing these sort of cars, because there's no textbook for what's right or wrong. You just got to go with it and, you know, iron out your little bugs and gremlins as you go. So Hypertune radiator. I believe Arthur over at Tuner's Edge supplied all that, including all the Hypergear stuff. Yeah, it's got the Hypergear header tank as well in the back there. I'm just trying to think what else that we've done to this. This is so much work. PPG gearbox. Direct clutches have also done the clutch on it. We've had that out a couple of times, just trying to get it dialed in nice and clean. Yeah, it's got the Haltic dash. It's got everything. It's got all the fruits on it. It's an absolute banger of a car. Power-wise, you know, it makes like 900 kilowatts, which is pretty cool. You know, it's a fast car. Luckily, we've got the keypad in there, which allows us to do like throttle blip, traction control. We've got all heaps of cool features on this car, just to try and make it drivable, you know, make it so you can actually use it on the street. You know, technically it's a drag car, you know, on a street chassis. So as you can imagine, when it comes on like an absolute maniac. Like it just wants to tear you off the road. And GTRs just love to talk to you, so you got to be hanging onto that steering wheel for all hell. But yeah, we'll jump in the car and have a bit of a look at the gear stick and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, you got like, that's the Haltech keypad, it's got the small one, and then that's the PPG gear knobs. So hopefully the lighting's a bit better, so you can just sort of just see the dash there. But yeah, another thing I should make note of, it's got an Alexa single in-tank fuel pump in this thing with their controller, and man, that fuel pump, we get these from Dave and Stewie over at DSR Performance in Melbourne. So they've got a good contact with the guys at Alexa over there, and that we work well together. And you know, that fuel pump, we did some development with it the other week and ran it through the flow bench. And you know, you go from like 0% duty cycle of like 500 and I can't remember exactly what it was 500 odd litres, you know, per hour. It's sort of like 43 psi, and then as you go up to around sort of 76 psi at a 90 odd sort of duty cycle, you know, it's 1250 litres per hour from one pump, you know, in the tank, you know. So this doesn't have a surge tank in it. That's just pretty much everything's all in the tank, you know, buried right down deep in the factory position. And you know, I can say if you're ever thinking about putting a single fuel pump in, these Alexas are absolute, yeah, gorilla for what the size of it is. If you see how small it is, like it's tiny, and the amount of grunt this pump has, it's awesome. But the only trade-off is that yes, it is very amp hungry. So you got to make sure you got plenty of juice, good alternator, good battery, and good power supplies. Otherwise, you won't have much success with it. But hopefully I've covered everything. You know, if I missed something, you know, hit us in the comments, ask a few questions. Happy to answer it. I know Coda loves to get on here and have a bit of a chat about his car too, as we all do. You know, it's exciting. It's his baby, so he'll be more than happy to talk to you in the comments. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And yeah, once again, yeah, just ask away, you know, ask us what you want, and we'll do the best we can to answer the questions. Enjoy the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and yeah, see you next time.